Okay.
So my name is Howard Chow. I'm a fourth try student. I took the business plan class last try. Have not completed my own business plan yet, but I'm also in this competition. So I'm just gonna go over the skeleton of what Professor Histrich from Professor Histrich's lecture, and then I'll go over one of the finance forecasting sheet that he provided to us. I can also share that with you guys. And also I'll go over pitch. How do you pitch to a VC? I'll go over the presentation and the skeleton of how you should construct your template when you pitch into a VC. Question?
Will you share the slides?
Yeah, so this outline is already on the TAM Facebook page, the Thunderbird Entrepreneurship Network. So it's also in the, I believe Zhuang sent outline out today within the email.
Just out of curiosity, what's the name of the course that you took?
It's called Global Business Plan.
Global Business Plan.
Right. Okay. By Professor Histrich. I think he didn't have it this try because there was not enough people.
Okay.
But he should have it next fall.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. So he the way he has to set up is broken down to pretty much 3 sections. In the first section, in the plan itself, it's pretty easy. Just title page, table content, and exact summary. The exact summary should include everything that I'm going to talk about in the body of the business plan. So let's just jump right into it, right? So the description of a business. So what exactly is your business? So I'm going to use my company as an example. I started a company with my classmate Richard Dennis. So our company, it's called Redesign, and it's a furniture company that utilizes recycled material. So description of the venture, you go into exactly what your venture is doing. It's either you're providing a product. For our example, we're selling actual furniture, or you could be providing a service. So I know many of the applicants for business plan competition is online services, right? So online services and type of industry could be, my industry is furniture industry. A lot of it is, I know owns is food and beverage. The online social media, online services. Mission statement. All you guys taking classes, strategy classes, so you should just figure out the mission statement. That 1 to 2 sentences have a really bold, give a really bold idea to a consumer. Within that 2 sentences, they know exactly what your venture is about. I think the business model is really important, especially for a lot of online new businesses, because they have this great idea. For example, social media. How do I make money from online social media, right? So from advertising. So this is really important. To me, for example, for my own business, the business model for us to sell the actual furniture, right? But there's many different ways through distribution, through online, or just or we can still provide services for people to do customized furnitures for people that wants them. So I think business model is the first thing you need to figure out, because when you pitch to an investor, the first thing they're going to ask you is how you're going to make money, right? Because without figuring out how you can make money, if you figure out everything else, it's still a little bit useless, because if you can't make money, you don't have a business. So going over to the description of industry, the future outlook and trends. So this start going into, you have to do some marketing research, especially on the macro market level. So for my industry is furniture company, but our specific target is looking for people that's environment conscious. So I did a lot of research on the furniture industry as a whole, and I also went into the environmental friendly products. So you have to do, one of the IBIG has many great resources. A lot of those databases, if you go into the IBIG website, the databases, there's a bunch of databases that has industry information. And if you ever run into trouble, the librarians are awesome. They can point to the right direction within like a day. You can ask IBID online, right? So I don't know if you guys know it. If you ask IBID, you just type in your question. They will point you to the right direction within a day. They're pretty good. Analysis of competitors. So this is where I see a lot of people when they think of their business idea. They have an assumption of a competitor, but those competitors might not be your direct competitor. So you kind of have to, if you have a team that you guys can brainstorm, kind of look into different type of competitors. There's, direct competitor, indirect competitor. But I did a couple of months of internship with a VC, and a lot of problem we see from business plans is that they didn't actually identify their direct competitor. So I think that's really important. You have to find your direct competitor and kind of see what they're doing, try to kind of figure out what their business models are. And if you can't figure out your business model, you can kind of look at what other people are doing. So I think that's one of the benefits of doing the competitor analysis. Industry and market forecasts. So this is the industry trend, but also you have to think about how does the business trend will affect your future revenue. So for example, for my company again, there's a trend for people that's willing to pay more for green product. So I know that, hey, the trend is working toward, to my favor, because in the future, I think there's a growth opportunity for my own business. Technology plan, the third part, I think not everyone has competitive advantage in technology. This portion is mostly, describing of anyone that files a patent that has a competitive advantage in technology. If you have a patent, this is, the place to put it. But I think for a lot of our business ideas, there's probably not a advantage in the technology portion. So I think then you can shoot or just focus on the commercialization part, because in order to commercialize your business, for example, again, bring back to my example, for furniture, you need to have, we have a prototype lab. You need the basic, saws and tools to make the furniture. So this is where you can, include your commercialized requirement. For example, I know for, food and beverage, you probably need to include, hey, how much, PPEs, that, playing equipment that you need to purchase in order to run your business. So this is kind of where that commercialization requirement is. Going to the marketing plan, looking at the market segment, so a lot of business focuses on a niche. So you kind of have to tailor it down. So for my business is furniture, but it's in more on the green furniture side, and we're not competing with the big box stores. So you really have to identify which segment you're competing in, And as part of the competitor analysis, I think that should help you figure out your market segment. And after you identify this, which type of market you're focusing in, my suggestion is to find your target customer. So you should define a target customer in their demographic. So for example, you could be targeting someone with a young professional with age from 25 to 35, because maybe your product it's a trendy product and you think those people are mostly going to buy it. So for example, it could be 25, 35 of age with 50,000 K of income, right? So it's important to finite that your target customer, and also the geographic, because a lot of companies you need to start most of the startup you need to start small, right? So because most of the startups don't have the resources to tackle everyone, and for example, everyone in the United States, 300 million people. There's no way you can target that many people when you start off. So having this more of the focused target segment could really help you to define your resources and define your entire marketing plan. Looking at the pricing, I never took a pricing class, but pricing you can also, again, you can go back to the competitive analysis. You can see what other competitors are doing from comparable product. The way Professor History taught us is that if you find range of competitors, you want, for example, somebody might be selling a pen at $1, and another person might be selling at $5. There's a range from $1 to $5, and his suggestion is to price your price. Is to price your product a little bit less than the highest price competitors you can find. That's kind of his suggestion. I found that that's fairly true. I mean, but then it also depends on your product, right? Because if you're a low-cost competitor, you want to price your product lower. But if you think your product is a premium product, has a competitive advantage, then you should follow what the little bit less than highest person. Distribution, there's a couple ways of doing distribution. Again, I mentioned before, you can do online, you can sell directly to your consumer, and then you can sell it through distributor. One thing to remember is that when you think of distribution, the price is heavily depends on the distribution, because when you sell through a distributor, they will take a cut. So you should set a retail price, MSRP, like a retail price, and then work your way back. Depends on your different distribution models. You should have different pricing. Well, you should have the same retail pricing, but your cost and price selling to your direct competitor, selling to your direct consumers or to the distributors will be different. So for example, right, if your product, if this pen is, your retail price is $5, right? The distributor will want to make a cut, 50%. So you have to sell them at $2.5. But your margin is a lot less, but you don't have to deal with all the distribution to sending out to different parts of the world or in the U.S. So these two are really tied up together. You can think of your retail price, your intermediate price, and your cost. Promotion, could be online, offline. Online, you can put in online advertisement. Offline, you can put it in the magazines. Word of mouth. but that's not very, sometimes not very useful. It depends on your product. So promotions, I don't know. For the product or services, again, I mean, this marketing plan is kind of like the marketing 4P. So, I don't know if all the 4P should be, interrelated with each other. So if you want to sell a high premium product, then your price needs to be high premium. And this part, so after you've done all this research, you should be able to kind of know your sales for the first 3 years. So the way of kind of tunnel it down, the way most of VC sees it, is they have this thing called TAN, total available market, which is, for example, furniture, right? Total available market could be the entire furniture industry. How much is retailing for furniture industry retailing? It's like 40 billion. And after that, you have to identify geographically which target segments. After you've done this market segment analysis, you need to focus on, hey, $40 billion overall. I'm targeting, people with age 25 to 35 with $50,000 of income. That's 30% of the U.S. Population. Okay, so 40 billion dollars, 30% of that is like 12 billion, right? So and then after that, you can say, hey, your more of your addressable market. So realistically, with the resources you have on hand, how much can you service? So it's called the serviceable, attainable market. That's the more of the realistic market, how much you can address. So for example, out of the $12 billion, $12 billion market, you only have, with your online distribution, your starting resources of, couple $100,000, the total target market you can actually address is probably just the consumers within Phoenix. So you can do like a percentage of that 12 billion and see how much projection you think you can get. And then the sales for the first 3 years, you kind of assuming that, hey, now people in Phoenix with this demographic, this age, I have a good, $100 million market. Realistic speaking, my first year, I think I can get 1% of that. So, you can get $1 million in the first year of sales. So that's the way a lot of VC look at it. They like to see you kind of tailor it down to, funnel it down to see, hey, what is exactly realistic with your business model? Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just you can stop me anytime. Go ahead.
Can you expand a little on what is business model and the parts of the business model in point 1?
Okay. So the business model, I think parts of it's, actually to the simplest form is that how can you make money? So, yeah, again, for my example, is we sell furniture. So we sell furnitures. That's how we're gonna make money, right? So you don't have to go too exact, too elaborate in that section, because this is the high description of business. But you really need to think about it. There could be many ways of making money. Because, for example, when I pitch my idea to investor for my business plan class, a lot of them ask, hey, why don't you think about doing services for making furnitures, customized furnitures? Why don't you think about recycle your material and sell it to the next layer of people? So there could be multiple business model, just exactly how you can make money.
So it would be referred to the scope of your activities.
Right. Yeah.
What you will do and what you will not do.
Right. You're exactly right. You can just focus on what you're gonna do to actually get the money. And you can talk a little bit about what you're not gonna do, but probably just mainly focus
How
on
about clear idea?
yeah.
Thank you.
So, would you describe it also as more like a vision? Like you say, we focus, our vision is that this and this and this happens, and that's where our company will grow on in the future.
I won't say exactly that because, for example, right, it could include part of the vision, but your vision statement, most of the company's vision statement does not tell exactly how you're gonna make money.
Yeah, a mixture between, because you have
Right.
to include the,
Right.
how
So
you
yeah,
make
it's
profit,
a good
but
it's a good idea to
or-
see, to have you know, hey, I'm gonna start off my business with just selling a pen, you know, and then second step is, hey, I'm gonna make money from creating an online platform that connects sellers and buyers for office supplies. So that's kind of like the business model. Right now, I'm only getting money from direct sales, but then, you know, in the next year, I'm taking percentage of this transaction from the seller and buyers, like eBay, right? So, you know, you could have different business model with different life of your business. Yeah. Any more questions on this slide? Go
I
ahead.
have a little question.
Yeah.
About the technology part.
Yeah.
How can we evaluate the cost of available technology? Because technology is might be very expensive. How can we price the technology?
Yeah. So I think with that question, I think it's what your commercialized requirement is. So what's the minimum technology you need to get off the ground? That's the way I would approach it. I don't know if there's a better answer. You know, it is hard to, for example, a patent, right? How do you evaluate a patent? You know, it's I don't know, but you know, maybe like a patent lawyer or patent officer might know. But yeah, the best I know to answer your question is, the way I would think it is to, what's the minimum technology that you need to start, you know, your business.
Okay.
Right. But if you have any, you know, existing technology that other people don't have, you should put that in the business plan. But yeah, it's I don't know exactly how you can kind of evaluate, you know, how much is your technology worth. Sorry.
For the business plan submission, is there a limit to the number of pages or a minimum number of pages that the judges are looking for?
We honestly, we haven't, I don't think we have a minimum or maximum. So it's really up to the team. So what we're doing is by the first week of April, we're gonna filter it out to 5 business plans, and those 5 teams will pitch at the end of April. So you know, it's, you know, you can go as deeply as you could, or you can stay on the surface, but most likely, if you don't do, you know, if you have too little of research done, then you'll probably get kicked off from the second round. So you know, my suggestion is, I think the average size from what Professor Hitchery told us was about 30 pages. That's kind of just a benchmark, but hey, if you know, it really depends, I think. But I think 30 pages is a really good benchmark. Yeah.
is it allowed, is accompanied material allowed, like a video explaining the business model or the general idea, or is it only the business plan because it biases maybe the...
No, I think we can totally, if you can incorporate the links to your videos or anything like that. If you want to shoot a video, we definitely work on that.
Okay.
You know, I know business plan is just part of it, but usually I will save the videos for the pitch, for the actual pitch.
Okay.
But since we have so many applicants for the first round, we have 19 plus 1, so we have 20. So it is highly competitive. So
Yeah.
you know, anything you can do to differentiate yourself, why not, right?
Okay.
Question? Okay. Okay. Now we get to the hard part. Financial plan. A lot of people are scared of that. But don't worry, I have a template for you guys. So they want to, most investors, they want to see 3 to 5 years pro forma financial statements. This includes income statement, cash flow, balance sheet, and then also the break-even analysis. So break-even analysis, hey, your overhead, your fixed expense is this much. Your margin is this much. How long will it take to break even? I think most of VCs, they look for 3 to 5 times investment return. That's equivalent to about like 30 to 40% ROI per year. But the financial plan is not set in stone, and always is not accurate. And it's pretty funny because the way the VC sees it, they want to see a J curve, which means that they want to see this J curve of the first years you're down here with the more fixed cost expense, you're even more negative. But once you hit positive, they want to see a high growth, like exponential growth. That's typical the way they want to see it. But a lot of times they kind of make fun of, well, not make fun, but they will question this projection right here. They want to see this curve, but they always want to challenge you on this curve. So it's kind of like a catch-22. But that's the way typical VC. That's typical the way they want to see it. So you can kind of not manipulate, but you can kind of play with your numbers. You see, like I was talking to you about the market penetration. Instead of, hey, first year might be, hey, let's say we'll get 1%, but second year we might get 3%, and then you can assume that your fourth year might be getting 10%, right? So that will show the J curve. And then they also want to see the source and use of the fund, which means that how much are you going to ask the VC for, and what are you going to use those money for? So the typical way of evaluating that is recommended by Professor Gibbons. Is that if you do your cash flow statement, your cumulative cash flow, when is the largest negative cumulative cash flow, and times that by 2. That's kind of his recommendation. A lot of times VC will say that's too much, but then you start the negotiating process. But that's what he recommended, and he has a lot of friends in the investment community. So that's kind of the rule of thumb, I think. But yeah, kind of be careful on that one because a lot of VC guys love to challenge your numbers. That's how, when I pitched my idea last try, and they had a lot of questions. So be careful on that one.
Can you repeat that one more time? You said take those numbers and divide them by 2?
Times that by 2. So
multiply.
Yeah. So you're the most negative cash flow, and you kind of need to double that to ensure that your projection, it's kind of like an insurance per projection. But a lot of times, most of the times, the VC will negotiate with with that number. I'll come back on the financial plan, on the projections. I have an Excel sheet. I can share that with you guys as well. For the production plan, manufacturing process, actually the PP&E that you can purchase, you kind of really need to think of from supply chain how from start to finish, the entire operation flow. I don't know if most of you have taken the operation management class yet, but a useful tool that we had was just kind of just map out your process. Hey, a raw material comes in, I need to convert it into semi-finished products, finished products out, logistically, how are you gonna do those?
Is there an equivalent for section 6 in case that you don't produce something but you offer a service, because the outline would be a bit different?
Sure, yeah.
Do you have something like similar?
Yeah,
structure?
that's fine. It'll be more of flow of goods or service is how you're gonna perform the service. If you have actual good, your product outsourcing, it's also you need to kind of identify that. A lot of startup they find a manufacturer, they don't have the manufacturing capacity in-house. So yeah, you can do a little bit of research. Hey, most of the time there will be manufacturer agents, so they are the ones that can help you find a manufacturer. And then going on to the organizational plan, this is where they want to see how you're planning to form your business. So in this section, you can talk about, you're gonna form a C Corp, S Corp, LLC, sole proprietor. There's different legal entities. Within the state, I think there's 8 to 10 now. I know a lot of you are doing business plan with different countries, so I'm not sure what the legal entities for those are. And also important thing is the management team background. So in the VC world, there's two divisions. There's a division of two different school of thoughts. One is, hey, I'm gonna invest in this great product. I don't care about the management team, right? And most of the other portion is, hey, I want to invest in this awesome managerial team, right? Because hey, maybe they'll fall on their face with this one product, but hey, they might come back and pivot their team and use their resource toward another thing. So one thing for the management team background, you want to have team with complementary skills. So from my example, I'm marketing entrepreneurship. My partner, Richard Denise, he has, he's doing consulting and he had 8 years in building construction. So, that's the complementary skills, right? So typical, most of the time, you have one manager that's doing the business part, but you need another manager that's focused on the technical part. I don't know if it's for food and beverages, maybe you want to find a chef. For online services, you want to find a coder, a developer that has experience with developing web platforms. And also, something VC also look for is your board members. So this is something that a lot of startups haven't thought about yet, but if you can couple of board members that's really connected within the community, especially within the industry you're focusing in, it adds a lot of value. Because if you have a mentor that can guide you, they've been through this business, they know how to survive in this business. So having that board member brings a lot of value to a team. Operation plan. They're a little different, I guess, than the production plan. Production plan is kind of how you're going to make your product. Operation plan also also describes how internally you're gonna run your team. So you, for example, after you define the team and organizational plan, operational plan, you'll say, hey, the goods come from outside supplier. Comes in, we need a QA team, that quality assurance team to inspect on those. So kind of like how your team and your flow of goods kind of combine together. That's how I see it. And then lastly, just a summary slide. Go ahead.
Is this structure mandatory for you? For
No, it's
readability?
not. This is totally a suggestion. It's kind of like a checklist of how you can think through different things. This was helpful for me, but this is definitely not the it plan. If you can, like when I was doing my business plan, I went into Microsoft Word, and if you search for templates, there's also other business plan templates, which are similar to this, but a little different. Depends on the industry you're in. Maybe you can find a better structure that's more tailored towards your industry. So, and then I know in IBIC there are also like tens and hundred books about business plan. I was looking over it. I was looking at it, and it's like a couple of shelves. So there's enough resources to IBIC, online. There's also templates online. So this is definitely not mandatory.
Do you need to cite or like reference anything in business plan?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely, especially for your market research, because a lot of it you are using secondary research. So definitely you need to sort those. So yeah, I can share with you guys on the financial projections I have, if you guys don't have any more questions. Should we move on? Or you guys, yeah?
I have a question. For at least the competition part, how much
Sure.
of the resumes of the principals gonna count? I mean, is there like, do you have some type of weighted summary as far as what portions are gonna weigh for what percentages?
We don't have that yet. But I think that's definitely something that we are looking into, because I think we're coming out with a final judge criteria, if you will. So I think that's a better benchmark for everybody to see, but we're still developing that at the moment.
On last week's breakfast,
Yeah.
the lawyer that was giving the speech, she said that at the time of deciding the type of entity that we choose, we should contact an accounting, like CPA or
Yeah.
lawyer. Would you advise us to do that for the business plan?
For the purpose of business plan, I would not say so.
Or do we have someone on campus who can talk to you about it?
I've been through it, so you can kind of talk to me. I did a little bit of research. Most of the startup business does LLC because it protects you against liabilities. So if you, I know a couple of my friends, they start off with sole proprietor, so their income from the company and their own income is combined together. So if they get sued for the company part, they'll be in debt too. So that's really dangerous. So LLC protect you from that. You can also go to like C Corp or S Corp. There's one disadvantage of forming a corporation, but I forgot. I'll get back to you on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can share with you a slide that one of the guest speakers from the Global Business Plan.
Yeah, and later we will private the finance team and the marketing team to help you to consulting. If you have some question, and you can ask them.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, we have the TAM and then the VCP club, and as well as the Thunderbird Angel Networks. We have quite about 5 to 10 people that's in the in this area kind of. So most of the time we should be able to give you a pretty good response. But yeah, anything, just contact me what you want, or leave us a message on Facebook. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, so I'll go through the template that I got from Professor Estrich. So this is pretty sweet. So all you need to do is, for this template, all you need to do is fill out the sales projection for your first 3 years, and then expense also for the first 3 years. You'll calculate the break even for your income statement and cash flow. I know this from the sales side, you do it by months, and you kind of do your projection. Hey, how much after you do the pricing analysis, after you do the marketing segmentation analysis, you kind of have an idea how much you can sell per year. And depends on industry, there's seasonality. So, for example, again, I bring back to my own venture, right? So furniture, people move a lot in the summertime. They don't in the wintertime because other than Arizona, everywhere else is snowing, and so people don't move around when it's snowing, right? So you need to build in that seasonality with your projection. So for me, I will project, hey, my sales in the summertime will be higher than the winter time, right? So you need to kind of consider that seasonality. Especially in the U.S., Christmas is a big thing. So if you're actually selling actual goods, so that's another thing you can consider. Yeah. So the way I like to do it is that from this macro, hey, market, my addressable market is $1 million. I think that for the first year I can do $500,000, and then kind of just break it down to the months and kind of figure out a seasonality, but it should at the end add up to your addressable market. So after you fill in all this information, this row is the price for each product, and these are the number of products units sold per month. Then you'll spread out the revenues, because revenue is just pricing times units. So for the second year and for the third year. And yeah, the expense part is a little harder because you do kind of need to benchmark yourself with the existing company. So most of the expenses, especially fixed costs, are done by percentage. So if your competitors, if they're a publicly traded company, their overhead expenses might be 30% in that space, right? So if you can find a publicly traded company's financial statement, just do that ratio analysis and kind of just copy that ratio analysis. But having in mind that because the startup company might have a little different expense ratio than the publicly traded companies, so for your expenses for startup with the percentage, but your overall overhead, hey, I'm starting my PP&E because I don't have my revenue. It's like a couple $1,000 now, but my rent is $1,000. So that's let's say 50% versus a public traded company. The PP&E might be just 20 or 30%. So kind of use that as a benchmark, but kind of think of yourself, remember yourself as a startup company, and change your number toward that. Yeah, and then there's a lot of pre-startup expenses. So the equipment you need to buy for your business to start running, the initial inventory you need to buy, the professional fees like the CPAs or the lawyers, how much you need to spend on that. Initial marketing is usually higher too because your brand is now recognized. So you need to spend more than the normal percentage to kind of let people know, hey, we're a new business, we're cool. Yeah, some of these might be not be applicable, especially like salary, salary for employees, because start off probably just a couple of owners that's just owning the equity, but you do have to include the cost of goods sold, even though I know a lot of times cost of goods sold might be done by the owners, but I think you should separate that out because on a financial statement, you can show that, hey, owner is taking equity, so there's actually no cost of goods sold. You can't do that, right? So you have to, the hours the owner working, for example, even for the services, online services, a developer, I'm taking 20% equity, but my hourly rate is, $20 an hour. I spent this much time on building this software, so you still need to include your cost of goods sold in there, separate the equity part versus the hourly wage part. And then kind of just a good checklist. Just go down, see what, just go step by step, see, just to make sure you don't forget any expenses that you haven't thought about. Because most of the time you're like, I just have 2 or 3 expenses, but after you go off this list, you'll be like, oh man, I have to pay 20 bills instead of 2. So yeah, then this will split out the break-even analysis, see when, which year you break even, the 3-year pro forma income statements, and the 3-year cash flow statement. Cool. That's all I have for today. So if any of you want to have questions, want to ask me, or you can contact me afterwards. I'll share all these resources now.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I got all this information from Professor Edrich, so credit to him.
Thank you.
Okay.